Risha, waiting. Hello, 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 and welcome to Reach Out Together's Season 2, Episode 2 of our Mental Health Impact Series. Once again, we're back here on a Friday to continue having mental health discussions to break cultural stigma and encourage outreach for help and for support. Today, we have a very special guest with us from New York City, the one and only Natalia Perez-Segnini. How are you, Natalia?
Hi, Aanchal. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really humbled to be a part of this conversation and just hold this space together. I'm doing really well. This is a great start to my Friday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We really.
How are you?
Oh, I am personally doing well. I'm so excited for this interview. I've been waiting for this all week. So I'm sure you can see it on my face just because I think, each of us, we come with such a different set of experiences. And I think when we can come together and just be authentic in our sharing, in our being, I truly believe we're creating social change by just us being ourselves and talking about our reality, right, as authentically as we can. And I did a little bit of research on you, Natalia, and I'm personally really happy that I am connected with you now. I'm excited to see where this sort of takes us, in terms of making a difference for people. So I want to thank you for sharing your time with us and our audience on a Friday.
Oh, thank you for the invite. I'm so happy to be here. This is a really near and dear topic to me. So I'm just very thankful to be able to share my experience with everybody along the way.
So why don't we start today, Natalia, with talking a little bit about yourself? Could you share with the audience, what do you do? What's your profession?
Yeah. Sipping my matcha here. I don't know if we have any matcha fans out there. I'm a personal trainer and I'm a fitness coach. That wasn't always my profession. I made a few sharp right turns along the way, but I found myself in fitness. So on a day-to-day basis, I help different people achieve their fitness goals and really get in touch with themselves on a deeper level outside of fitness. So it's super, I think it's very impactful work, and I love connecting with people on a one-on-one basis. So be able to touch people in their mental space and as well help them along with their fitness journey is really meaningful to me.
That's beautiful. And since how many years have you been doing this?
Yeah, so fitness is a little bit newer for me. I kind of stumbled into fitness. This is, I would say, going on my second or third year now. But before that, it was ad tech sales. And before that, it was journalism. So when I say sharp right turn, I'm not kidding. It was like, skirt. But I found a lot of these skills that I acquired throughout my life are so transferable to everything else that I've been doing. That first I was like, girl, you really like making some sharp turns out there. But I realized that all for the right reasons, and it's just how my life is meant to flow. So I think it's very much on par with what the universe has in store for me.
Okay, so something I'm going to share with you right now that I didn't know was that you were in ad tech before and you were in journalism. I have to tell you this, Natalia, before I founded Reach Out Together Foundation, I was in ad tech sales. And before that, I was in journalism myself.
That's funny.
That is
maybe a little
in
cosmic.
the same order, actually.
Wow. I mean, it makes sense here. I mean, I did my research on you guys too, and I love the organization, and I could tell that you guys have some, I mean, you in particular, clear as day that you have that journalism background, just how you carry yourself, how you speak. And I would assume that the skills that you acquired there were very much transferable to what you're doing today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Something that I in like the future is not gender-based, it's skill-based. So the more you develop your skills doing different things, I think it will help you in your future. At that time, I didn't know that I would ever repurpose any of these. And today I think I'm using every single thing that was put in my path that has brought me here today. So kudos to you for
Kudos to you for
leading
pivoting.
this. So incredible. Um, how did you realize, Natalia, that this is the field that you wanted to pursue?
Good question. So I grew up an athlete. I played soccer and I ran track, and then I kind of fell out of touch with fitness and with taking care of myself from the inside out. So it was kind of a long road for me. I guess to shorten it up, I was an athlete. I chose partying. I chose not taking care of myself. I wasn't putting my mental health first. I wasn't putting my happiness first. I wasn't putting my inner me first. And I picked up a lot of vices along the way. And I completely lost touch with fitness and athletics for almost a decade. And then I went through some life situations that required me to really dig deep. And I found myself in a meditation studio, and I found myself in yoga studios, and I found myself in situations that were pushing me back to fitness without me really understanding where it was I was going. And then one day I woke up and was like, that's right, I'm an athlete. And why has it been so long since I've flexed these muscles again? So it was kind of a full circle for me, but I stumbled back into it, and I'm super happy that I'm here.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm really curious because this is fantastic. I think this is going to help a lot of young professionals who are tuned in, who will tune in and listen to this, to know that you can change the course. If you're off course, if you're finding yourself not feeling joy, you know that you can decide to pick a different path and pursue that path, because the skills that you have learned so far will help you in your next endeavor, whatever that may be. So more power to you, Natalia. While I was reading your bio, so much stood out to me, so much spoke to me. And so I want you, if you may, feel comfortable to share with the audience in a way, what really brought you here today? How has that journey been?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so I grew up in a fairly unstable household for a good portion of my life. And I say unstable, meaning that there was many family members who were struggling with mental illness, were struggling with very serious mental health crises, and also addiction as well. So the dual diagnosis was very present in a few of my family members. And this was very evident to me from a very young age. And it was, how do I describe this? It forced me to quickly get in tune with my empathetic side and understand that other people feel their feelings for what they are very strongly, very passionately. And we all have different realities. We all have different perspectives. So from a very young age, I understood, or inherently understood, that life comes down to our perspective. It comes down to our viewpoint. And I think through my relationships with these family members and just through my childhood, it was, I couldn't turn the other cheek. I couldn't look the other way. It was right there in my face all day long. So it's inherently a part of who I am. And I can't grow out of that. And I don't want to grow out of that. I think it's with purpose that I grew up in this family, and it's with purpose that I'm sitting with you today. And it's with purpose that I continue to lead with mental health, because it was a very strong factor growing up. So I'm here today because I lived a life of, I don't want to use the wrong adjective here, but it was a plethora of experiences that were so profound that I can't turn a blind eye to this. So concisely put, my family deals with bipolar and with psychosis, and also the dual diagnosis of addiction as well. So because I was able to see that firsthand, I feel it's incredibly important that I do share my story. And I do share it on a micro level, which is what I've been doing my whole life, which is through one-on-one conversations with friends, with family members, with loved ones, but also on a macro level, which is, case in point, this conversation here, which is broadcasting to people that I don't know personally. Because I think it's with our conversations, when we're able to be vulnerable, when we're able to express ourselves without hesitation, without fear of being judged, or rather that fear of being judged is still there. Like, I'm experiencing it right now, but I'm not letting that fear of judgment determine that, or make it that my mouth closes and I don't share anything, because it's with this sharing, it's with this back and forth, it's with this vulnerability that will ultimately trigger somebody else in the audience right now to be vulnerable with somebody that is close to them. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a friend, but vulnerability breeds vulnerability. And I think I have a duty as a human to be vulnerable with this topic so I can help trigger that confidence in other people to share their stories. And it's with that sharing, with that domino effect, one after the other, that we will make cultural change. It starts at the kitchen table. It starts like this. It starts with having these uncomfortable conversations very often, to the point where it becomes second nature. And eventually, hopefully, that type of reaction or that type of back and forth will help inspire somebody else to take off the veil, to take off the armor that's so like stuck around their heart or their mind or their whole essence, right? We need to remove that in order to be able to see each other for the humans that we all are. That's it. That's all it is at the end of the day, one human talking to another. So I want to be vulnerable. I want to inspire other people to be vulnerable and to talk about the stuff that isn't the funnest to talk about the scary stuff like bipolar, like psychosis, like schizophrenia, like having really serious depression, whatever it may be. There's no one size fits all here, but the more vulnerable we can be, the more open we can be, the more conversations we can have, the easier this will become for the world.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate everything you're sharing so authentically. If I may ask a follow-up question, Natalia.
Please.
First of all, I just want to start off with saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you had to go through that at such a young age, growing up in your family and witness that. But I also want to say thank you for continuing to find avenues for your own well-being. And because you were relentless in pursuing well-being for yourself, you are here today. You're making an impact, not just for people in your community. This is across the world. So thank you once again for being so brave and coming on here and sharing this. Having been a person that was raised in a fairly tough upbringing, I think for me, when I see people share so authentically, right? I know this is to create social change. I know this is for us to progress, for us to move forward in togetherness and in well-being. So more power to you. I want to encourage you to keep going and keep sharing your message, person by person, community by community, because that's truly how we can make a difference, right? Going back a little bit to your story,
Please.
to your journey. At that time, Natalia, were you aware that your certain family members, that they were diagnosed, that there was an official diagnosis?
So when I was a child, so sub 10, there wasn't an official diagnosis yet. It wasn't until I believe my middle school years, so 11, 12, 13, that we were able to put a name on what we were experiencing. But because with dual diagnosis, as I'm sure you're familiar with, it's hard to pinpoint what you're seeing when there's addiction at play and there's bipolar at play and there's depression at play and mania at play, right? It's hard to pinpoint what's what. So I think for many, many years, I saw my family members as adjectives and not as humans, right? So I'd see them as how they were acting, not as who they were on the inside, which isn't fair. You know, it's not fair. And it actually makes me a little emotional to think about it, because it was coming from a state of mind of viewing them as their condition and not as the human that they are, right? So, and I want to stop really quickly and fan this fire, because I'm not sure who's listening to this, and I'm not sure if they view their family members as such, but there was a time period in my life where I saw these family members as their condition, right? So I would see them as bipolar, I would see them as psychosis, I would see them as crazy, so to speak. I hate using that word, but I want to use it because I'm sure there's a lot of people in the audience who still reach for those labels. So in my earlier years, seeing them as the condition was my fault. Not my fault, but my error, right? Because I didn't educate myself enough. I wasn't willing to immerse myself in their shoes and understand what they were feeling. So at a young age, there wasn't a diagnosis yet. It wasn't until that middle school years and later where there was definitely diagnoses rather, and an abundance of evidence that suggested that this is what we were dealing with. So little bit of in my younger years, kind of a blame game. And it wasn't until I got to a more mature state of mind that I understood that you can have any condition. That doesn't mean you are the condition, right? You could have bipolar, you could have schizophrenia, you could have depression. You're not that. That doesn't define you as a whole. It's something that you work with, right? It's not something that you let work you. And it took a while to understand that.
That's so beautiful. I love that. We have a couple of comments here from the audience. Love that you're talking so freely, Natalia. We need to hear these things. Yes. Thanks for embracing that vulnerability. This is so important to talk about. And I agree. I agree because there's so many people, even in my network, I mentor a lot of youth, a lot of young people. And I am aware that even within that community, within that network, there's certain young people, living in families where their parents are either undiagnosed, they refuse to pursue any kind of help. And their children, they're afraid actually to say anything because they're so scared of what may happen. And I wish and I hope that some of them are tuned into this discussion here today, because I want you to know that recovery is possible, that no matter what you're experiencing today, know that you can change that environment and that you will. I know you will, right? The older we get, the more we realize that we are in control of our environment, and that often when something happens to us, when anything happens to us, it's not about what has happened to us, it's what we do with what has happened to us. And that's exactly what Natalia shared here. And that is, it's so powerful. Could you share, today's topic is mental health first aid, right? It's about, regardless of what has happened or is happening to us, right? Understanding our needs, understanding what brings us joy, what's going to make us feel better, right? Often it's okay to reach out for professional help. It's okay to reach out for external community support, maybe some charities, some non-for-profits that offer specific support for something specific, because these will offer you, an environment of healing, an environment of personal growth, environment so you can actually feel better and recover, right? So Natalia, do you mind sharing with our audience, what did that journey look like for you from a young age to you being here today? And today you're a fitness instructor. And from the comments or from the emails we've received, we're really excited to tune into this interview today.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so would you mind sharing with our audience, how is that
yeah.
recovery journey look like for you? And how did you become aware of, hey, maybe like I want to get back into fitness and now I want to teach and help other people?
Yeah. So it was a journey. Well, it was a journey. It wasn't something that it happened organically. And at first I tried to cover it up because and I know I've spoken a lot about my family members, but like, obviously this is a there's a lot of factors involved, but genetics is one of them, as we all know. So this is also in my blood, right? I'm not diagnosed with anything, but I would be lying to everybody that's watching, including myself, if I said that I didn't have moments where I have to check myself and I have to check my own mood and I have to check my own mental health, because it's not always peachy keen up there, like for everyone, I assume, in their own way. So with that said, I used to mask. Recovery wasn't at the forefront. It used to be masking my reality with vices and with alcohol. That was my choice. Cigarettes. I used to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. I used to drink scotch in the middle of the day. I used to not do any type of fitness. I wasn't taking care of my body. I wasn't taking care of my brain. I wasn't taking care of me, or anything that I wanted to stand for. So it started with masking my reality, of which I thought I was recovering, right? Because I was pushing everything to the side and I was clogging my vision I was blurring my vision, is what it was. If I can't see clearly, then I'm good, right? Because I can't see the mess that's in front of me, which was a load of BS. And it was a way to prevent my ability of getting vulnerable with myself and prevent my ability to see things for what they really were. So once I worked past the stage of mistreating my body and mistreating my mind, then I started to step into talking with myself. And that's where it all started. I'm a firm believer that the most important relationship in our entire life is the relationship with yourself and the dialogue that happens up here, right? Because it's one thing to have this conversation with somebody else and you can say all the nice things about yourself. But if you go behind closed doors and you look at yourself in the mirror and all you're saying is negative thoughts in your head about why you didn't live up to this, why you suck at this, why you're ugly, why you're fat, why you're all these different things that you could probably think of in your moments where you're a bit lower, that conversation in your head, the dialogue that we choose with ourselves, is so critical, so critical. And after I went through the stage of masking my reality and blurring my own vision, I realized that, whoa, girl, your conversations with yourself are not there. Like, that's what I have to work on first in order to be able to layer on top of that. It's like I was trying to build this giant house on a foundation made of air, right? There wasn't any soil underneath of me. I was building on something that wasn't existent. So I realized that my foundation is the words that I choose to fill my mind with. And that's where that's where my recovery really started, was understanding that the conversations I have with myself are above everything else. And then it started to layer on top of that. Once I was able to befriend myself, once I was able to have an open, vulnerable conversation with myself in the mirror, then I started to care more about what I was putting into my body. All of a sudden, nutrition became a really big thing for me. I started to understand what foods made me feel a certain way. And as I'm sure you already know, and perhaps a lot of people in the audience are on this journey, or maybe they don't know at all, but your gut is a huge factor in your mood and how you feel. And what you put into your body is so important. So I say that to say that nutrition was, first it was a conversation with myself, then nutrition came into the factor. And then I was like, oh my God, I feel great when I eat great. Who would have thought? This is a big deal here. Then it led me back into the gym. I started being way more active again. I realized I had forgotten I was an athlete. Then it started to snowball in this direction of self-love and putting myself first and embracing myself and the demons that I carry along in this invisible bag of human baggage. We all have it, right? And we all collect it over the years of our life. So concisely put, it was conversations with myself, nutrition, and then fitness. And now I realize, looking back, these are core foundational things that I will have for the rest of my life. And they were always there. I just wasn't necessarily wearing the right set of lenses to see what was at my fingertips. And I think that's also important for the audience to know that there's always time to change your narrative. There's always still time to change your narrative, right? It just takes 1 millisecond, one small positive thought, one smile from a stranger, one something to shift your perspective just momentarily, enough for you to step out of your current lens and realize you have the ability to take off what you're looking at and put something else on, even if just for a moment.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Natalia. I really appreciate it. So let's say, just because I know, we're in a pandemic right now. Things are getting better, but there's so much discomfort across the world. And there are days when, even though we're doing what we want to do, we're achieving, we're accomplishing, there may be that one day when we wake up and we're not feeling very okay. It happens to most of us, right? And it happens. And it's in those days, having grace for yourself, showing compassion to yourself, it's in those minutes, it's in those moments when you're not feeling okay, right? What is it? And how do you, Natalia, how do you shift that feeling into you going out and creating the life of your dreams, or the day of your dream, or just making sure that the day goes well?
Yeah, so I love how you just shifted from the life of your dreams to the day of your dreams, because those are they're completely different, right? And one is very lofty. One is very, I can't quite reach it. I see it, I want it, but I can't touch it, right? Day of your dreams. Now that's tangible. That's something you can grasp, you can hold, because you're right here. So that switch was one of the first things that I had to start to understand, which was focus on what's happening right now, right in this second, right in this moment. So like you said, some days I wake up and I'm not about this life. I'm not about moving and grooving and hustling and putting myself first. There's some days I don't want to get out of bed, period. And there's some days where I feel quite low. And it's on those days that I know that I have to show up for myself. No one else is going to do it. No one else is going to come into my room and pick me up. No one else is going to call me and try and give me a pep talk. I have to be that person for me. I have to be that foundation. So on those days, I'm super cognizant of the words that I'm choosing. And this is a more tangible practice I think some of the audience members might like to adopt, which is catching yourself in the moment when you say something that you would like to alter. So for example, I'm currently working on using I use the word need, right? Pretty frequently. And I don't need to do that, because I don't need to do anything. I want to make the conscious effort to do X, Y, and Z. So when I hear myself saying, I need to wake up, I need to do the dishes, I need to go out and run. No, I say, no, Natalia, you don't need to do anything. You want to make the conscious effort to make time to move your body in a way that will make you feel good. And I say it out loud because our subconscious is always listening. It's always listening, I've learned through my life. And it will believe you. It will believe everything that you say. So if you say you're ugly, your subconscious is, oh, I guess we're ugly. Note, on March 12th at 9, I realized I was ugly. Like, the subconscious will take all of these notes down. So I have to work with my subconscious. And even though I can't see it, and even though we can't really have a conversation, what I project outwards, I know is going to come back in. So the tangible practice is stopping yourself. It's harder, easier said than done, right? This takes some time to get used to, but catching yourself when you're using words that are disempowering, when you're using words that are belittling, perhaps, when you're using words that aren't meant to raise you up, or perhaps you're using a word like need, stopping yourself in that moment and outwardly, openly, and audibly changing the word and reminding yourself, no, I'm using this word, and here's why. That adds up over time. It adds up over time. And eventually what you're doing is you're rewiring your brain. And that catches on, at least it did for me. So now it's second nature for me to stop myself. It's second nature for me to stop others when I hear them using words that are disempowering, when I hear them using words that are belittling. Because sometimes, sometimes you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't even realize that that there's something going on with you, right? That you're experiencing something. So I think there's so much power in words, and that's where it starts, at least for me. It starts with the words that I choose to fill my mind. It starts with the words that I choose to project outwards.
That's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree. I think words hold so much power. I actually feel like, even using the words like happy, joy, or, when you're speaking the truth, like my name is Aanchal, this has a very positive reaction physically as well in our body,
Right.
as compared to me even lying and saying, hey, my name is Rishabh. Me saying my name is Rishabh, my body is weakening because I'm not saying something that I believe in, like this isn't serving me, this is just not right, and my body is now, it has it's a different physical reaction. When I say that Aanchal, you can't do it, Aanchal, you're not good enough, Aanchal, there's no point, don't even bother trying, these are very negative statements that don't just have a negative impact on my mind, but they also have a physical reaction in my body. And that looks like sometimes you feeling tired, you feeling just no energy to do anything.
Right, lethargic.
Lethargic, yeah. Not wanting to, go attend that meeting or go out for that little run that you told yourself you were going to go for. It happens.
Right, or eat food, right? Or drink water.
Yeah. On that note, please go drink water right now.
Yeah, if anyone's watching in the audience and you have a glass of water next to you, now's your cue to pick it up and drink it, because that's also a very, very powerful substance. It's something else that I learned along the way, which I think it comes back to nutrition and fueling your body, right? And what we put into our gut. Oh gosh, like my mom told me something actually, who is one of the family members who has dealt with mental health conditions her whole life. And she's a phenomenal role model, and so many things that I could say, but I'm not going to say it because it'll make me emotional. So what I will say is that she did teach me something recently, that like 10% of the dopamine is produced in our brain and 90% is produced in the gut. And that's something that I wasn't aware of. And it just was mind blowing to me. It makes so much sense as to why there is this feel good moment when you fuel your body with food and not CRAP, right?
May I just share that
Please.
This is something that I can resonate with so much right now, Natalia, because I don't know how much you know about me personally, but I quit the tech space, the ad tech space that I was in 4.5 years ago. I lost my twin brother to suicide. And I realized that, I was doing fairly well in the company I was working at in sales, ad tech sales. But I realized that, success is great, but I also want to feel fulfilled. And I ended up quitting that, and I founded Reach Out Together Foundation. I got mental health first aid certified with the Mental Health Commission of Canada. And when I was sitting in class, I learned about the different kinds of illnesses, mental health illnesses, the different, like the top 5 prevailing disorders, like schizophrenia, which is a psychotic disorder, mood-related disorders, anxiety-related disorder, trauma-related disorder. And when I was sitting in class, it actually became evident to me that my twin brother just wasn't well. It's as simple as that. He just wasn't well.
He was sick, yeah.
He was sick. His environment, the people around him had no idea about mental health challenges, about supports available, about how truly it's really not a big deal. If you break your hand, you could go to the doctor.
Right,
but anyways, right? Every year, ever since then, because this July is going to be 5 years since my twin brother, Tushar, passed away. And every year I have been picking one thing that I want to improve. These are things that I fully acknowledge from either from my upbringing, you know, it could be intergenerational trauma, transgenerational trauma. It doesn't matter. The point is that today I'm an individual and there's certain traits within me that I notice that I've either inherited or I just am. I am. And I don't like it. Right. And I want to change them. And one of those things was that I truly wanted to understand what healthy eating meant. Truly. So in 2020, I keep saying this year. So in 2020, that's what I took on. I want to understand what nutritious eating truly is. And I have to tell you that, you know, I believe life is about balance. I'm not all about, this is all I'm going to eat, and I'm never going to eat like a brownie, or I'm never going to eat this, right? I believe in balance. Like, as long as you're working out, you're exercising, you're taking care of your body, then it's okay, you know, to have that balance. Eat what you want to, it's okay. But now when I eat those burgers, when I eat those fries, my body is rejecting it in the sense that I'm not enjoying it. I can actually feel that this isn't adding any value to me. And this is not something I would have said until like a year ago. So this was a really big change I noticed. I'm 100% with you on that. I didn't know about the gut, the 90%, the 10%, but it makes a lot of sense.
And I think that, like your story, the not really knowing, not really realizing the feeling until you like invest time in it, right? It's like anything. Until you care enough, you're not, it's going to be, everything's going to be normal. Everything's going to be peachy keen, right? But once you start to experiment with it and you feel the effects that food has on you, I believe that food is fuel. I believe food has the power to be medicine. And I think that is a great starting point for anybody that might be watching, that might watch this later on. If you don't have a good relationship with your food, that's okay. I think it's completely normal, especially for Americans. And really, I would just say humans across the world. We live in an era of instant gratification. You want Thai food at 4 a.m., you got it. You know, you want pizza with extra pepperoni and extra cheese, you got it. You got whatever you want. There's so many options at our fingertips. It's so easy to make a choice that's not necessarily good for you. It's hard to educate yourself. And it's hard to go back to the roots of how humans used to live before we had all this instant gratification around food. But once you get in tune with that and what makes you feel good from the inside out, oh my God, it's a complete game changer, as you discovered, as I discovered, as we discovered.
Complete game changer. And again, like we can go out and tell people, but you truly have to experience it.
Have to experience
for yourself to know it. Your body has its way of telling you what's good for it, what's not. And I think often we don't get to listen to it. You know, we're so conditioned to getting validation from other places that we're ignoring the feedback our own body is giving us. But when we tune into it, right, I think that's peace, that's wellness, that's joy. We have a lot more comments coming here, so I'm quickly going to read them out. There is always stigma against being checked out for any mental issues. A lot of cultures, yes, I do agree. There's still stigma still prevailed. And I do believe stigma stops people from getting the help they need, which is why
or talking about it.
Yeah, from just talking about it, completely agree. Natalia, how did you decide for yourself that you deserve better? What were the steps you took to improve the quality of your life?
Oh, that question is deep. How did you decide for yourself that you deserve better? I think that, I don't know who asked that question, but just by the wording of that question, right? The fact that person chose to use the word deserve, that signals to me that perhaps that person, and my heart goes out to you, I'm speaking directly to you now, that perhaps you don't believe you deserve certain things. And I think it wasn't do I deserve better? I think it was, I will be better. It wasn't I deserve better. This is a non-negotiable, right? Because my life, I'm in control. I'm at the steering wheel. Deserve, I feel like that word is like a teacher would see their class there. I'm trying to use an analogy that might resonate with people, right? A Johnny who is doing really well in class, he deserves a gold star because he did very well. Like it's a word that I would use coming from a judgment standpoint, right? I'm judging, I'm surveying the scene, and I believe that you deserve X. I think when it comes to mental health, when it comes to the relationship we have with ourselves, it's not a deserve, it's a non-negotiable. Like it is, it has to be there, or we're living life inauthentically, right? We're living for other people. You're living with this blurred vision, right? You're not actually there. And I challenge that person who asked that question to see if they can put on a set of lenses that makes this a non-negotiable, right? It's not a matter of you deserving it. You inherently have it. It's in there, right? You can tackle all of these things. It's there. It's just waiting for you to open the door, right? You don't deserve to open the door. The door is open. We just have to push it. Like you don't deserve a better life. You get a better life, right? Like
yes, you do.
already. So what were the steps to improve the quality of life? It started with the conversations I had with myself. It started with being cognizant of the words that I was choosing to describe myself. The look and the feeling that I had when I looked at myself in the mirror. It started with just becoming baby steps, right? Like baby step by baby step, more aware of how I was looking at myself and how I was talking about myself. But to that person again who asked the question, it's not a matter of you deserving anything. You get it. This is yours. This is yours for and it's just waiting for you to step through that door.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. More comments coming in. Love this discussion. Thank you, Aanchal and Natalia. There's always time to change your narrative. Love that.
Yes.
So much wisdom in this talk. Thank you for keeping it so real, Natalia. Absolutely. Really, really appreciate it. Before we wrap up our discussion here today, what is the one thing you'd like to leave our audience with? A message, perhaps for someone that's tuned in right now, that's not feeling very good, a bit confused, contemplating what is the next step for them in recovery. What would you like to say to them?
I think there are a couple of things. One thing which we already mentioned and somebody echoed in the comments, which is there's always time to change your narrative. I mean, always. Like it could be half a second before your eyes close, you go to sleep, right? There's always time for you to change it up. You're never going to reach a point, and I don't like to use the word never or always lightly, right? But I feel very passionate about this. There's never a time where it's too late, right? You could be 99, right? You could be 10 years old. It doesn't matter. There's always time for you to change that narrative. And what I think it starts with is being vulnerable, right? I think vulnerability is an absolute superpower. And it's a superpower that can set you free. But you have to open your mouth. You have to talk, right? And it's gonna suck. I'm not gonna lie. There's gonna be times in this where you like break down in front of people, where people see you at a low point, right? They see you in perhaps in a defeated way, right? Or let me rearrange that adjective, not defeated, because that's a negative connotation, and I don't want to use that here. But they see you in a way that you perhaps wouldn't want them to see you. But that vulnerability will set you free. You have to be brave. You have to be brave, and you have to talk about it, even the stuff that is scary, because if you don't have anyone to talk to, please find me. Please find me on social media. Please find me wherever you can. Reach out to me. I will happily be a listening ear. But it starts with recognizing there's still time to change your narrative. Talk. Please. It's so important for us to talk to each other. And then I think the final thing, and I say this a lot in some of my classes that I teach and with my one-on-one clients, but our brain is a computer. It's a computer, and our body is a machine, literally a machine. This controls this, so we can rewire this. Yes, you were born with a default, right? But that doesn't mean that it has to be that way for the rest of your life. We're in control of this. And sometimes it doesn't feel like we are. I know that. I experienced that as well. But this is a computer, and you are able to rewire it one baby step at a time, one word at a time, one vulnerable conversation at a time. So I hope, I know that was kind of a long-winded message, but I hope that resonates with some people. And again, I just want to reiterate, I know that there's a lot of strangers on here that I don't know that are watching. I'm not kidding when I say, please reach out to me. I'm happy to be a listening ear.
Thank you. And where would be the best way that they can find you or reach out to you? Would that be email or social media?
I'm happy to give both. My Instagram handle is, my name is Natalia, but my nickname is Tala. I guess I'm kind of tall for a female. I can't be sure, but my Instagram handle is Tala Than You, which is TALATHANYOU. You can shoot me a DM there. I'm happy to give you my email, and we can talk a little bit more extensively on email as well. But if you want to just take the email route, maybe you're not on social, it's Natalia, which is NATALIA .Segnini, which is .SEGNINI @gmail.com.
Beautiful. And you're right now open to welcoming new clients, people who are interested, who are ready to improve the quality of their mind, body, and soul, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. I have a website as well, which is www.itsnatalia.com. So you can head on over there and check out. I'm available to take on new clients virtually, in person as well. And I would love to work with you in whatever capacity you want to take on that, coach. But, aside from just fitness and mindset and mental health, like I'm here as a friend. And I want to be that for anyone that might want that in their life.
Beautiful. The power of us reaching out together.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what this logo stands for? It's basically two fists put together like this, upward. Mm-hmm. Yes. Do you know what this stands for? This hand sign?
Yeah. Please educate me. I don't.
So in sign language, this means together.
Oh.
So the instructor usually puts their palm together and goes in a circle like this. And that's how children would know that the instructor is saying, do the activity together. And that's why we have a circle around the logo to symbolize that. And also because it represents the world. We use the color orange because orange and color healing therapy, it brings out feelings of warmth and happiness. And our vision at Reach Out Together is to heal the world together, conversation by conversation, community by community, breaking cultural stigma and encouraging outreach to improve the quality of your life. So I wanted to personally, once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, Natalia, for being here, sharing your time once again on a Friday to raise mental health awareness. You were great.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be sitting here with you and talking. I absolutely love the work that your foundation does. I'm a huge fan, and I want to help in any way that I can. So I hope this doesn't end here between us. And thank you for having me. Like I said, I'm very honored to be here.
Love it. Thank you. And this is just the beginning. Thank you to everyone that tuned in till the very end. Just because you stuck around till the very end of this video, as always, I want to I promise you, if you send me an email at Aanchal@reachouttogether.com, I am going to send you a digital version of an excerpt of my book called Tune Into Your Destiny from the book Success Strategies. Actually, just give me a second. I'm just going to bring it right now.
Yay. I'm excited. You're such a
Awesome.
powerful woman, Aanchal. I just want to take a moment. I mean, I know I haven't seen you or met you in person, but your aura comes through the screen, and I just want to say that I can feel your power, and I enjoy it.
Oh, thank you. I feel yours too. And I'm so glad we connected. I am going to reach out to you personally after this discussion to keep it moving forward. I think there's so much power in everything you shared. A lot of things that I resonate with. And I think if we keep doing what we're doing, I know we're already making a difference. Starting in our communities. I'm excited to keep going. So having said that, I wanted to welcome everyone that is tuned in right now to the very end. If you send me an email once again at aanchal@reachouttogether.com, I'm going to send you an excerpt, a digital copy of a chapter from this book that I wrote. This book, I wrote it with my mentor, Jack Canfield. He is the author or the co-creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul book series. And it was such an honor to co-author this book. It hit Amazon's best-selling list within 24 hours upon launch.
Wow.
And my chapter, thank you, and my chapter won the Editor's Choice Award from the publishing company from California. It was, I thought about it when I was writing. By the way, writing is not easy. It's not easy. When I was first writing, I was writing things that I'd read about. Until when I reread it, I was like, this is something people have read. And I came up with something that is so unique to me. So when I say a vulnerability, I poured it into here. And I want to encourage you to take the time and read it, because I can guarantee you it's going to help make a difference, a slight difference for you. So send me that email and I'd be happy to share that with you completely free of cost. If you're still here and you have a message to share, please send my team an email at ankita@reachouttogether.com, and we will make sure to have you on our show, Mental Health Impact Series, for you to share your story and help break stigma and encourage help and support. This is a wrap of season 2, episode 2. Thank you once again, Natalia, for your time. And I hope you have a great, great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm wishing the same for you and the whole Reach Out team. Thank you so much for having me, and for everyone watching. I hope you have a great Friday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You heard that, team. Make sure that you have a great weekend. We deserve it. For the amazing work you all do. We do. So thank you. And until next Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you then. Bye for now.